I just pressed record. I'm here. All right.
So everyone, Chuck had to make us wait to get started so that he could take back his carcasses in Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a video game.
I had to wait 12 hours to do a podcast today. 12 hours. I'm a creature of habit.
Chuck's been playing Red Dead Redemption for 12 hours waiting for us.
No, I watched hockey today, too. Give me a break.
It's Rock Hard Caucus late night edition.
I also ate a pizza.
This is Night Caucus.
Yeah, Night Caucus.
All right, so we're recording late at night. This is the first time ever. We usually do it too early for me, but now it's too late for everyone.
Yes.
And I think this is going to be a fairly casual, laid-back, loosey-goosey kind of episode. I didn't really prepare anything, but we do have a bunch of recent events that we can talk about. Does anyone want to go first?
Oh, boy.
All of us are volunteering all the time, I feel like.
I'll go first.
You go first.
So we are officially all off the Bernie 2020 wagon. I don't know if you guys saw the news or not, but it has been revealed that Senator Sanders is not only anti-Semitic, which we all knew, but he is also a sexist who does not believe that women can be president. What's your guys' take on that? Do you agree with him?
So if you listen to our sister podcast and pay us money to do so, we have the definitive take on this. But the take is, yeah, women can't be president.
Let's hear what
He's
the men
right.
have to say about this now.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I
Natalie
think Evan wants to abstain.
Natalie can expound on that, as much as she wants to, because I would, never want to, step on any woman's,
What kind of Bernie bros are you?
All I'm going to say is...
Actually, the serpent is a symbol of fertility and rebirth and vitality.
Yeah, it's on the American Medical Association logo.
That's right.
Or whatever. It's the
Oh, yeah, because I heard that's because of their venom. Snake venom was used to make medicine way back. I don't know the history of medicine, but I'm sure snakes were involved.
It was used for euthanasia.
Yeah, there was a lot of use of snakes.
Yeah, they use snakes to suck out the blood of people. I meant leeches.
So the Elizabeth Warren stuff is the worst thing ever, and there's literally nothing about it I don't hate. And I now am revolted by even looking at Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, how do you feel about the people that are trying to draw parallels between this and the Me Too movement?
I yelled about this for a half hour last night. So I better not
to
do
yourself
it again.
on the show.
No, on the show. Stella and I recorded an episode, and you should pay us money to hear my opinion. I'm not going to give it away for free.
All right, so the true sexism
yes.
is locked behind the paywall.
Give us money, you little piggies.
The episode we recorded last night is one of the most explicit things I've ever done. And I did it accidentally because I kind of forgot we were recording and just talked the way I normally talk.
Perfect.
It's very, very, very gross. And I just want to apologize.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Folks, that's patreon.com/rockhardcaucus.
Look, we've been beating this to death all week, and it's been mostly me that's been posting tweets in the group DM about this and driving everybody insane. 15 hours a day I'm awake, but it's all fucking just the worst dog shit ever. To me, it's just the reflection of how spotless this dude is. That this is what they have to try to do to fucking knock him off the tracks is try to deploy this strategy, and out of all of the men that are running for president, I'm fairly certain that he is the least fucking likely to have ever said anything like that in his entire life.
Yeah. It's very ironic that she went over and talked to Joe Biden right before the infamous handshake incident went down.
Yeah, he gave her a little sniff and was like, oh, yeah, let's fuck this Bernie guy.
It's not even worth discussing, in my opinion. No. I mean, we're still going to win. Elizabeth Warren can do whatever she wants, but I think it's really only hurting her more than anything else.
For sure.
So, yeah.
The little polling that's happened since bears that out as well.
It does.
Yeah, there was a Reuters poll, I believe.
Depending on who you ask.
Yeah,
all over the place. I mean,
well, the fundraising during the debate was like crazy good.
Especially the national polling, but I mean...
Yes, that's what I meant. Yeah, there was a Reuters national poll conducted, I think, the 2 days following the debate, and in their poll, Bernie went up 2 points since his previous Reuters national poll. So
eat shit, let's
plummeting into first place, just free falling into first.
CNN went incredibly hard against Bernie at that debate, and it only benefited him.
Yeah, because it was so outrageously obvious that, like, they went too far accidentally. Like, and everyone can see it, even, like, people who are not normally very into Bernie were like, that's fucked up. And, like, conservatives are being really helpful. Like, Trump is tweeting all the time about how they're rigging it against Bernie.
Yeah,
and it's like, you know that's good for him.
Well,
when you say that.
I mean, the media is doing a piss poor job of even trying to spin it. Like, it's
funny as hell. It's so
ridiculous.
Funny. It's made me think about Hillary Clinton way too much, though, because it reminds me of, like, her, like, girl boss stuff. And so much.
The pantsuit.
And the pantsuit. I was in Pantsuit
Nation.
I got added to it. There were like 12 million you wouldn't believe what it was like.
Are you still in the group?
No.
Fuck. We don't have access anymore.
We lost our mole.
It was like the biggest thing ever, and it was you taking pictures of yourself in pantsuits and then talking about the amazing shit you're doing.
I've never heard of this before.
And how excited you are to be voting for Hillary Clinton. No, it was this huge thing. It was this Facebook group that started during the election, and it was when Facebook groups were like first kind of taking off, and it became like the biggest one. And it was reported on as like a media secret, but there are 12.5 million people in it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It really is a nation.
Yeah.
The rogue republic of pantsuits.
So like all together, and then there's like nasty women ones too nationally. These are all unbelievably terrible groups to be in. I quit them when I was still a #resistancer. Because I was like, this sucks.
One of my favorite hashtags from Twitter that was around during that time was this like Men for Hillary one, and it was like maybe like a month or two before the election, like actual election day, and all of the Men for Hillary videos were like these really buff guys like pumping iron in the gym with like these little bro tanks on that had the Hillary logo on it. And, like, the text would say stuff like, making sure we're in tip-top shape to protect Hillary Clinton come election day.
No way. No way.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
I was not on Twitter during this time, and I was not paying very much attention to politics, and I wish I knew everything that happened. Was it so funny?
Oh,
it was the best.
There's
the best time to be on Twitter was
there's like
the month before the
literally
election.
like millions of people in this country who would like put their life on the line for Hillary Clinton.
Oh my God, yeah. There's like these like big oily men just like pumping iron. They're like all tan and shit with Hillary stuff on. It's like, we must protect Mrs. Clinton. It was so good.
Oh my God. I hated the little of it I did see, and so she gave me flashbacks this week. But I kind of like to think about how much I hate her. So, because I always find new fun anecdotes every time I could like get down rabbit holes of how much she sucks.
So you mentioned flashbacks, and since we already brought up the debate, I had a realization, I think this was just last night, and I think it's worth sharing.
Yes, do it.
Okay, so at the debate, there was a moderator from the Des Moines Register. Her name is Brianne Pfaffenstiel, I think. It's one of those. Yeah, one of those names that starts with a PF, so it's
oh no,
it just throws everyone off. So she was the one who asked like the most glaring questions to Bernie about, you know, saying he doesn't believe a woman can be president.
Shout out to, wasn't it Eduardo from Des Moines who was asking about insurance companies going out of business?
Right,
Yeah.
yes.
When Des Moines has like, I think like maybe 1 or 2 health insurance companies and like 20 others that are not anything to do with health insurance.
Yeah,
It was such a bullshit question.
It's not really a health insurance town. It's
Not
like
at
a
all.
financial products town.
Yep. Retirement shit.
Yeah. When you're like taking
Life
down
insurance.
Yes, life insurance. That's what it all is.
Yeah.
Or like Wells Fargo.
I didn't actually watch the debate. I did see a couple things from it, and
It was terrible.
I can imagine they usually are, but I knew with this
Bernie
one,
killed
like,
it though.
Yeah, well, he had to swallow a lot of fucking flies in that one because I mean he's like
yeah,
the top
well,
dog
he
now.
stayed, but he stayed. He was not rattled at all. He stayed
Oh, dude, no,
perfectly
he's-
on message, and
I mean, how do you
he
even
stuck
rattle
it to
him?
Elizabeth Warren on USMCA.
Yeah,
Like,
hell yeah.
and she voted for it.
Did you see Chuck Schumer is voting
Chuck
against
Schumer
it?
voted against it for the same reason that
Yeah.
Bernie about climate change,
Yeah.
supposedly.
Yeah.
Also, every senator that's dropped out of the presidential race.
Yeah,
has also
Harris
voted
did.
against
Yep,
it.
Gillibrand.
Oh, speaking of which,
Shout out Gillibrand.
I don't know if I mentioned this on the show before, but there was a Kamala Harris sign on my street for weeks after she dropped out. And just, I think 3 or 4 days ago when I was driving to work, I noticed that they had finally taken it down. Actually, no, it was Wednesday morning they took it down. So I can't help but wonder if they turned on the debate on Tuesday and they were like, huh, where'd Kamala go?
Oh, no.
They're like, oh, no. They just like went outside and like, oh, I better take this down now. But the only real clip that I saw from the debate that I thought was funny, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about this, was the moderator asked Bernie, did you say this about Elizabeth Warren? And he's like, no, absolutely not. And the very next question was, Elizabeth, when Bernie said this to you, like the people are like laughing because of how ridiculous it is. Like everybody knows what a fucking sham this is.
My brain is so conditioned to irony that I actually thought it was like a pro Bernie question.
Yeah, me too.
Like it's so ridiculous, but that's just because I guess I'm a Bernie bro and my brain
and
already
the
thinks that
fucking
way.
The fucking crowd laughed. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
even
Bernie
they were
laughed.
like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, that's the moment where I think that she should have realized, like, fuck, I stepped on my own bear trap here, and it's like close around my foot, and I'm bleeding out on live fucking television.
Yeah, and that's the moderator I'm talking about, is the one who asked that
Same
question
person, huh?
right in a row. Yeah. Speaking of Liz Warren, Steps in Bear Trap, is that a good Native American name?
Cuts off own foot.
That is a very good name for her, actually.
Dying campaign.
Just self-inflicted wounds all over.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up for Bernie to bully a woman of color like that up on stage on national television.
Brianne Pfaffenstiel. Okay, so something about the monotone sort of... There's a sort of like hint of contempt for Bernie in her voice during that exchange and every time she addressed him at the debate.
Yeah.
Something about it was familiar to me. I was like, man, I feel like I've heard someone speaking to me like this before. So I had to sit with it for a few days. Like, man, why did I recognize that voice and just the mannerisms, the way she spoke? When have I ever interacted with someone from the Des Moines Register? So I was thinking back. Okay, so back in July of 2019, there was an ice cream social that the Bernie campaign was throwing at the rec center in Iowa City.
That is so wholesome.
And after the event, Ashley and I and a few of our friends actually were positioned behind Bernie at this event. So this has happened 3 times to Ashley now, being positioned behind the podium. But after the event was over, a Des Moines Register reporter approached me and asked if she could ask me a few questions. And as this was going on, she was asking me, are you considering any of the other candidates? And I was like, not really. Like, Bernie's pretty much, like, I know what I'm doing. I know who I support here. And she asked, would you support any of the other candidates in the general election? And I was very... non-committal. I was like,
Sure, yeah.
I don't really feel like I need to answer that question at this point.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not willing to say that I would. And she said, I think that I explicitly said I would not vote for Joe Biden in a general election.
Correct.
Because in July, I wanted a quote like that to get into the papers.
Yes.
Smart. Very smart.
That's so smart.
So she replied to that with, so if Joe Biden was running against Donald Trump, you wouldn't vote for him. And I was like, yeah, no, I wouldn't. And
I'd vote for Chelsea. I bet Chelsea's gonna run.
That'd be
she's
cool.
like, so that would be worth it to you, huh? And I was like, yeah.
Hell
Worth
yeah.
what?
What kind of
yeah,
fucking...
Worth what? It's a one person voting. One person voting? Worth what? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's
What's your
ridiculous.
fucking goal here?
So last night I was like, man, that couldn't have been her, right? So I went on, I Googled her name, and then in quotes, ice cream.
Yeah, there's some weird shit at first, but
Yeah.
I found a tweet of hers from July 2nd with photos from that event, and I can't imagine the Des Moines Register had multiple reporters at an ice cream social in Iowa City. So I'm pretty sure I talked to that lady before.
Damn.
that owns, dude. Did they ever publish any of your quotes about that when you mentioned that at the social?
Nope. I was
Oh,
looking
they
for a
can't.
few days afterwards, and it didn't happen.
No,
Dang.
dude,
That
she
would
was
have been so good.
She was trying to fish something out of you, like a second answer. Like, there's no, like, you handled that perfectly. So she had fucking nothing from you.
She didn't want to use it because she got owned.
Yeah, at least she knows when she's owned. That's good. I mean, sometimes I don't even realize I'm getting fucking dunked on.
But for real, to hector one person about like the outcome of the election based on their preference is just ridiculous.
A year and a half before that election.
Yeah, a year and a half before there's even a candidate for whatever party.
Yeah, 6 months before the primary even starts.
Dude, I'm voting third party, and I'm telling you right now.
Tulsi.
No, I'm not kidding.
If Biden wins the nomination.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
I'm gonna have to seriously think about it.
I
you know?
assumed Tulsi would run, and I would absolutely vote for Tulsi.
Yeah.
She's crazy and Islamophobic and like whatever, but
She also won't be president.
No.
right,
yeah.
exactly.
You know, you could, you might be able to vote for Vermin Supreme.
you can write in whoever the fuck you want.
I know, but I mean, like, didn't Vermin win, what was it?
He won
the...
a libertarian primary somewhere, right? He's on the ballot
Yeah, it was
somewhere.
like New Hampshire, isn't it?
Wow, winning a libertarian primary. That's like a
We could
huge
probably all do that.
accomplishment. Yeah.
Lincoln Chafee is running for
Yeah,
president
that's
as a
what's up.
libertarian.
Lincoln
Yeah.
Chafee.
What's next? A license
Fee-
to make
The
toast
man.
in your own damn toaster?
Wait, what's that a quote?
Yes. The libertarian primary.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, I kind of vaguely remember that.
We don't need roads where we're going.
I just remember like from the convention where like Gary Johnson said that there should be like driver's licenses and
He
got booed.
that's the same
After
convention,
like
yeah.
every other candidate was
Yeah.
like no. Like
What a bunch of nuts.
So speaking of Biden, I believe Evan has a Biden-related story from this week.
yeah, well, from Friday, there was a big ass snowstorm on Friday. I actually stayed home from work, and there was like a Biden guy who pulled up to our driveway like right in the middle of the snowstorm,
Ooh.
and talked to my mom.
What'd your mom say?
Well, my mom's a Bernie bro because of me, of course.
Good job.
My influence. But I mean, I don't know. Bernie is the reasonable choice again. Like for people who like don't even care about politics, like it's still
Yeah.
he's
Yes.
still the most reasonable, which is why
Yes,
he'll
absolutely.
win, basically. But this guy was like, she was like, no, like I'm not going to vote for Biden like immediately.
Good for her.
Yeah, and he like
I like your mom a lot.
yeah, she's good. But he's like a doctor, I guess. He like just retired at age 60, which is just goals. That's goals right there.
Dude, there was a retired doctor out fucking hitting the streets for Biden in a snowstorm.
Yes, I know. This is amazing.
Biden's ground game is improving, and the left is scared.
Yeah, so he said that's why he supports Biden, because Biden's the only one who can get Medicare done.
Wait.
Medicare
shut
for
the
all.
fuck up.
I don't even know if he said Medicare for all, but he supports Biden's healthcare plan, and he said that Bernie can't get it done because you should trust him because he's a doctor.
Oh,
Like,
trust me, I'm a
which is
doctor.
funny.
I agree. Medicare will be done if Joe Biden is nominated.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I guess this guy was kind of surprised that my mom was like a Bernie supporter, and I think he asked about the Elizabeth Warren thing.
Oh no.
And I think my mom basically said that like clearly like Bernie was being more rhetorical and that the way it was reported was wrong, and he was like, yeah, I agree, like if it was me then I would have just said that I'm gonna win, and that's why a woman can't be president, because I'm gonna win.
Wow.
That's
And then he was like,
very tactful.
but then he was like, oh, I think yeah, it is very tactful. I mean, That's maybe Bernie did say that. Maybe he was like, no,
I mean,
Elizabeth, you can't win.
Elizabeth, I listened to the boys on Comtown the other day. They made it very clear to me that a woman can not only not be president, but she also cannot be a proper Batman villain.
Cut that.
Just cut all my audio out. I'm gonna leave and go back.
Sorry,
to
Chuck missed another one. Oops.
But he's like, I like Bernie too, and I'll vote for Bernie. And I guess he asked my mom if she was gonna like vote for whoever won the Democratic nomination or primary or whatever. And I think she lied and said that she would. But I don't think if Biden wins, my mom probably won't vote at all.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. And
Take the pledge, everybody.
I mean, it sounds to me like your mom did really good, though.
I guess right now, we should say, yeah, exactly. We should say, I'm not going to vote for Biden. Fuck him.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's what Justin was doing.
Justin is, that's 100% the correct strategy.
We're not going to vote for Biden. Are we going to vote for Mayor Pete if he gets the nomination?
No. Absolutely not.
Worth a try. Who would we
I will
vote
vote for Yang. I will vote for Gabbard.
I would vote for Yang.
I will vote for Klobuchar.
I would vote for Klobuchar.
I will vote for Klobuchar.
I'm not voting for Elizabeth Warren.
So no Warren, no Biden, no Pete. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd do the rest. I'd vote for Yang. I'd fucking vote for Lincoln Chafee. I don't care.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'm not voting for those three people because they are going to set the leftist movement back by decades, because they'll do like these like cursory fixes and everyone will get so angry that they just like, did incremental changes when they had a mandate to do everything.
Liz Warren has already triangulated herself into a trash can, so I don't think we have to worry about it.
Right into the trash.
There are people who like genuinely think she's winning. I see them on the internet.
Yeah, it's like it's the same thing as the Kamala people at this point, basically.
Yeah, just like completely delusional.
Delusional about the
Times
fact
is
that
gonna
like
endorse her tomorrow, probably.
A lot of people do not like her, like especially now, because it's been like made crystal clear that she's like a political opportunist. I mean, that's her whole thing.
And how many times did we say on this very program that we did like her?
We tried to like her.
How
we
dare
did.
you
tried.
betray us?
I believe that the exact quote was, we said that she'd make a fine candidate.
Her politics are still better than fucking like Obama, but like she's just not a good politician. Like she makes self-inflicted mistakes all the time. She like tries to please everyone and like please no one in the process.
Yeah, but the selfie line, dude. Like she pleases everyone with the selfie line.
Yeah.
I was like thinking about trying to go to a Liz Warren event to get in the selfie line to do some kind of like irritating viral shit, but tape me asking some like hard hitting whatever. But I don't want to waste my time doing that.
Miss Warren, is pee indeed stored in the balls?
Okay, so Yang came up. Do we want to talk about what I experienced today?
Do you want to talk about it? I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to say, but Andrew Yang was in Iowa City today, and he had an event at a venue where I am employed, so I ran sound for an Andrew Yang event today.
Congratulations. Is that going on your CV?
Definitely, yes. Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to say. Yang is okay, you know?
What's his pitch? My family was there.
Oh, really? It was kind of weird because today was the day of the Women's March, and
oh yeah,
this was billed as a town hall on women's issues, but the most local Women's March that was going to happen was canceled for weather. So all of the women that were planning to come to the Yang event following the march did not show up.
Oh no!
Which
man,
made it kind of a weird
start.
Such
a bad look.
Yeah.
So what was the percentages on the audience?
There were still plenty of women there. It wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Good.
it was still a very balanced crowd. I think he drew about 250 people, which on a day with shitty weather is fine. for a candidate polling, 6% in Iowa? Maybe less?
Yeah, 6 to 8%, I think, is what I last saw.
Yeah, it's a fine crowd for that. And so he started out talking about the recent news with his wife, which I don't know the whole story, but I believe she was assaulted at some point. Natalie, I think you know more about this than I do.
Yeah, her obstetrician sexually assaulted her over the course of many appointments. And she, while she was pregnant. So she and 31 other women are suing him and Columbia University.
Jesus. I didn't know about the 31 other women.
It's like egregious, and it was like ongoing behavior where he would just tell her she needed these exams more and more often.
Fuck.
Yeah,
that
man.
Sounds a lot like Larry
Chilling.
Nassar.
Larry Nassar, yeah.
Yeah, it's like some chilling shit.
Ugh.
Ugh, gross. Yeah, so
God.
Yeah.
he kind of started his remarks, acknowledging that and talking about how much he respects his wife, and how supportive everybody has been in the wake of this news coming out. And then, in typical Yang fashion, kind of pivoted strangely to a weird humorous
automation
story. Well, he was trying to keep it on women still, so he was talking about how when he was a kid, he was like a nerdy Asian boy, and he was afraid of girls. And it's just like, I don't know, man. Maybe
I don't
put that
know
later.
that's
I
the
get
best way.
I get it.
Okay. Okay.
As a Yang boy.
I don't know about that.
It was a weird sort of whiplash, but no one seemed to
it sounds
have
a little
much of
tone
an
deaf.
issue.
What do you think he hoped to get out of that by saying that? Like, what?
Well, I don't know. He's
think Yang
weirdly
is
endearing.
I think he's having the time of his life out there. I think he just goes on there and he just riffs. He loves that people are coming out to see him, and he gets to talk to him, and
he has a simply delightful personality.
Yeah,
seems good.
Yeah.
There's nothing evil about the guy.
Exactly. I don't agree with a lot of his stuff, like charter schools, etc. But that being said, he just has a wonderful personality, and some of his ideas he's willing to be really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's pretty endearing. He is fun to listen to for a while. I get a sort of TED Talk vibe from him, which makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was going to say, he's like
entrepreneurship.
He's like the kind of entrepreneur, he's the kind of people that libertarians like him for a reason.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Justin, did you wear one of those little microphones that they wear that wrap around your face in TED Talks?
No, he used the venue-provided wireless microphone. Handheld.
You know what I'm talking about, where it points the like what Steve Jobs would wear at a tech conference.
It's tattooed to his cheek.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't, but it was that kind of energy a little bit, but less cringy. I will say when he was introduced, he did a sort of weird little jump from off stage onto the stage and then immediately walked into the crowd.
Nice.
Which they ate up. They loved it.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
sure.
I bet.
Yes.
Yeah. He's a rock star, dude.
So, yeah, like you were saying, I don't think he's evil. I think he is genuinely motivated by an actual respect and a care for humanity. He wants people to live fulfilling lives.
Yes,
I just think he's kind of naive and wrong about capitalism.
He has some blind spots based on his background. I think he was a corporate lawyer and shit for a long time, and so you can imagine how that can shape your worldview.
Definitely.
But I don't agree with him on a lot of things, but I just really I think his presence is very positive.
Yeah.
In the world, I guess.
Well, compared to any Republican and compared to most Democrats, at least he's
trying
to do something different,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I would feel like he'd approach foreign policy from being a person with a shred of humanity, and that would be good.
Sure, and being a child of immigrants, he has at least some connection to places other than the country that wages war everywhere.
That being said, I'm not in the Yang Gang.
No.
He's one of the least objectionable tech bros.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A lot of his pitch is kind of aimed at aspiring entrepreneurs or people who want to start their own businesses, which to me is lame as hell, but I understand that would appeal to a lot of people.
Yeah.
However, like it is probably the most like human pitch in that regard, because he was talking about people with disabilities. Somebody from the crowd asked him something about
He's very good on that.
disabilities or people who are disabled and unable to perform what we consider
the activities
work
of daily living
in this economy. Yeah. And he actually was saying like a human being's worth is not in their ability to generate profit.
Which is surprising to me coming from like a tech bro.
Exactly, yeah.
Because like usually
It's
these
amazing.
shitheads would be like, well, just because of this, you can learn to code. Like you can learn to write fucking JavaScript. Like,
Yeah, you can overcome literally anything.
Yeah, just learn to code.
If you
Just
put your
learn to
mind to
code.
it.
If
Yeah.
you learn to code, all sexism will end and all misogyny will end if all girls learn to code.
Yeah.
So that's refreshing to hear. I'm honestly
You should
surprised.
learn to code so that you can figure out the algorithm that will replace our government.
Okay, oh my god, you guys. Do you know who Karlie Kloss is?
I
No.
No.
So Karlie Kloss is a supermodel. And she
I'm
is...
interested.
Cool.
I too am horny.
Shut the fuck up. Okay. She's married to a Kushner brother.
No.
And she started a foundation, and it's called Coding with Klossy, spelled with K's. And the entire foundation is just devoted to teaching girls to code. To code with Klossy. I just think that's the funniest shit. Like, what is the coding thing? Like, where does that come from? Like, why are we training all...
It's a modern equivalent of bootstraps is what I see it as. It's like you put yourself with the bootstraps.
You think?
Fucking, yeah, learn to
Because
write
I
code.
think of, like, people are always, like, trying to retrain,
Well,
like,
it's
fucking
because
coal
like people are like
miners.
the biggest, most important, or like the most available jobs right now are like STEM jobs. So you have to get like a STEM job if you want to be like valuable to society or whatever.
Learning to code also doesn't really require any college education. Like you can teach yourself how to do that stuff.
Yes.
That's somewhat
Like,
true.
Get into the industry pretty quickly if you go through the right channels.
Kamala Harris at one point, I know when she was still in the race, was like campaigning, and she like told some like college student who was like a political science major that she should learn to code or something.
Shouldn't want any competition.
She's like, that liberal arts major isn't going to do you any good.
Nice.
Classy.
Very classy.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really of importance to report about the Yang event. He does the thing every candidate is doing right now, where they're like, I'm going to be president. I really am. Even if it's like so clearly not happening, which I can't really blame him for, because that's, you gotta say that.
Yeah.
I guess.
when I'm president, me, Andrew Yang, when I am president.
And being introduced and announced off the stage with the phrase, "Our next president, Andrew Yang." Do they do that at like John Delaney events too?
I'm sure they
Oh
do.
my god.
Our next
hope
president,
so.
John Delaney.
He's still in it, isn't he?
He is going to
Yeah.
be in it until someone forces him out. I can promise you
I
that.
haven't seen him in the media for a long time.
I do think that in the precincts here in Iowa where Yang is not viable, I think most of his people are probably going to move to us, from my experiences talking
Yes.
to them.
Absolutely.
That's my 100% experience.
I think we're going to
Is
catch
that-
a lot of the Tulsi people too, hopefully.
That's awesome, my 100% experience.
Have you seen any Tulsi people? Like in person?
Have I met Tulsi people?
Yeah.
No, I don't go outside. You kidding me?
I have a really close friend who's a Tulsi person. He's like a
Interesting.
wild conspiracy
I noticed you
theorist.
said he, so that checks out.
Sorry guys, real quick here. If you guys want to go see John Delaney, he's going to be in Des Moines on Monday, the 20th at 11 a.m. at
You have work
the
off, don't you?
Iowa Event Center.
Yeah, Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah, the black
the
and
perfect
brown
day to
forum.
see him.
Yeah, it's the Brown and Black Forum he's going to be at. What is that?
And that's during the MLK
Dude,
prayer breakfast.
John Delaney is going to be at the Brown and Black Forum, and he's According to the website, it says the Brown and Black Forum is the nation's oldest minority-focused presidential forum and is the fourth oldest issue-based forum. You guys got to go see him speak here. Like, I'm dying to hear what he's going to say. Past forum participants include President Barack Obama, Vice President Al Gore, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, Senator Bernie Sanders, and Vice President Joe Biden. Tickets are now available. Oh, dude, you guys have to go.
Apparently, he's still out there, and the last article I see about him is him saying, I think socialism is a terrible idea. John Delaney still running for president to beat expectations.
He's beat expectations.
Beat
already.
expectations. He's gonna pull.
Way
He's gonna
fucking longer.
He's gonna win 1% instead of 0%.
Good for him.
Good job.
I don't think he'll crack 1%.
I don't think he will either. I don't think he'll win a single fucking delegate.
No. But speaking of, issues of race, events centered around those issues, Natalie, I believe you experienced something like that this week, didn't you?
Yeah, I went to the most incredible thing ever. It's so filled me up, and it was right after the thing this week, the fucking Elizabeth Warren thing. So it was exactly what I needed. It was 2 days later. It was the day after the debate. And it was a house party that was hosting Cornel West and Nina Turner. And then Deanna Langfield, who is a local civil rights activist and also works with me.
Cool.
It was really, really wonderful. It was so inspirational. If you get a chance to see either one of them speak, please take it. I left feeling so empowered that we can do this. And we first got there. It was myself, my husband, and my daughter. We got in and we went and got a seat. They had a really big living room, but it was just kind of full of chairs, And as it got closer, they had to take out all the furniture from the room because it was absolutely packed. It was standing room only. They took away our chairs, which we arrived really early to try and get, so I'm a little salty about that. And I took video of it, but the video does include so there was at the front of the living room, there was a bunch of stairs going down, and then a little platform. So he was speaking on the stairs, but you could walk straight through from the living room to the kitchen, and it was just the base of the stairs he was speaking. So you could see into the kitchen behind him, and he's giving a speech, and it's really incredible and really inspirational. And we got there very, very early, so we were right in front of him in the front row. And Scout is playing back in the kitchen. We can't see her, but she's fine. She's with another kid. And all of a sudden, while Cornel West is speaking and while all these people crammed in this room where all the furniture had to come out, she flies past his leg, checks the side of his leg, smacks into it, runs up to me,
wow.
and says, "I peed a little bit in my underwear, but not a lot." And I'm filming it, so I jostle the screen and snatch her up and run past him back the other way, because that's the only way I can get out, because there's so many people. So everyone looked at me, grab up this child who had just been loudly saying that she had peed her pants, but only a little bit. And I had to rush her back to the bathroom, and then I had to run by him again to get back to my spot. And so it was just I was up and down and up and down, and in front of an entire room full of people. My daughter said that she had peed, but just a little bit, standing in front of Cornel West.
Did he respond to her remarks in any way?
No, he did not. Oh, she said, "I peed, but just a little bit in my underwear. It's just a little wet." Oh my God. It was very, very embarrassing.
Perfect timing.
Yes. So we're in front of some really, really important figures in the struggle for our rights, and an academic and an activist. And my daughter runs into him twice, and Peter Pants. So that was all very, very cool, and told everyone in the room that she did it. So awesome.
Good shit.
Yeah, but I did film a bunch of it, so I might post like at least Nina Turner's speech because it's just simply beautiful. And she says a lot of the things that Bernie can't say. Like, she goes really, really hard against Pete, Warren, and Biden.
Nice.
Like, she's very, very mean in a really good way. No, it makes you feel really good.
The MSNBC people on Twitter just hate her so much because
she
goes on those shows a lot. And I guess she quoted Tulsi Gabbard saying that like she also met with Bernie and that he didn't say anything like that to her.
Yeah.
Which of course made all the MSNBC people mad. Anytime Tulsi Gabbard is mentioned, they just like immediately start getting really mad.
It's awesome. That's why I'd vote for her. Simply to make them mad.
Yeah.
At least one good thing can be accomplished, and that's that people who would get mad about it.
Oh, you sound just like a Trump
Tulsi.
voter, Natalie.
You really do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Bernie and Trump are the same now because of what you said.
They are.
Yeah, so this should be obvious to anyone who listens to our show, but I definitely co-sign what Natalie says. You should go see Cornel West and or Nina Turner speak if you have the opportunity. I've seen them both a couple times at least each, and yeah, super good.
It really makes you feel good. Like, that's the way you deal with this shit, with this like despair, the total despondency, is you find someone who can explain why you should keep hope and why you should keep fighting, and they're not like rose-colored glasses about it. They talk about how bad it is, but they also make you believe that you're not alone.
Yeah, Cornel West does like a better job than anyone I can think of like tying together like all the kinds of justice and like synthesizing it into like very like plain spoken language that the average person can like really attach onto. And also like he connects it with like the legacy of like Martin Luther King Jr. and like all kinds of civil rights activists over time. And yeah, he's great.
He has
Joe Rogan agrees.
Yeah, he has such a moral clarity, and he's also like, in addition to what you were saying about tying all these struggles together, he's completely realistic and objective about our current political climate as well. And when I saw him speak on Tuesday, actually, in Iowa City with a friend of the show, Stacey Walker. Can I call him that?
Yeah, sure.
Is he aware of us? I don't know.
Probably not.
Cool, wouldn't it?
But yeah, I saw them do a town hall at the Mill on Tuesday, and Cornel West, he gave a shout out to, quote, our anarchist brothers and sisters while he was speaking, which like at a presidential candidate's like officially sanctioned event, he was talking about our anarchist brothers and sisters. So cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
awesome.
He talks about the other Democratic candidates, and he's like not at all pulling punches with his criticisms, but also is like, it seems like genuinely coming from a place of love for the actual people that are doing the things that he thinks are horrible.
Well, that's the thing with the Obama controversy, was that like he was like hugely in Obama's corner, like campaigning up until the point where Obama became president, and then he started to criticize him because of the decisions that Obama immediately started making upon becoming president, and then got into a bunch of hot water over it, pissed off all the MSNBC people who used to invite him on their shows all the time.
When he's the one who was entirely, morally, ideologically,
he's the one remaining consistent.
Yeah.
Yes. Obama is the one who, changed all the hope and change rhetoric into, neoliberal bullshit.
Poop and pee.
Timothy Geithner, listening to Larry Summers, just stupid shit.
Okay, I do have another weird event this week that we could talk about. I think this was Wednesday night. A few of the staff, or the local staff, field staff for the Bernie campaign, invited me to come to what they called a house party. They and I were under the impression that this was a Bernie Sanders house party for organizers within the Bernie Sanders campaign, volunteers to get together and learn about more volunteer activities and caucusing in general.
That sounds great, right?
Yeah, it sounded like a good opportunity to meet people who weren't already like tied into the campaign as it's currently ongoing. And it was in like a sort of wealthier neighborhood in Coralville. So I thought, oh, cool. We're like actually reaching some people that live in this neighborhood. And then I arrived at the house and was greeted by a nice older couple. And they said, oh, you're here with the Bernie campaign. And I was like, yeah. In my head, I'm like, isn't everyone here?
What's the password?
So they lead me through, and we're all sitting in their kitchen. I see the other Bernie people who had invited me to this event, and we sort of make eye contact, and we all look nervous. I look in the corner, and the mayor of Coralville is sitting there.
Oh, no.
Who has, been in the news for his Joe Biden endorsement in this primary, who I have made fun of publicly on the internet, which I'm sure he hasn't seen, but, still, like, just that I have these statements out there making fun of him, and here I am, confronted by the large man himself.
Is he large? He's large?
Yeah, he's kind of a big, tall guy. Not, like, huge, but, compared
he's
to
powerful.
Me. Compared to me, yeah, he's a powerhouse.
Power adds 20 pounds.
Of muscle.
Yeah, pure muscle.
So as it turns out, this was a meeting that the caucus chair and secretary for that precinct were putting together for representatives of each of the Democratic campaigns, so everyone could get together and like be aware of who is who and know about how the process is going to go down on the night. So there were people from Biden, Warren, Pete, I believe Klobuchar. All these people were there in the same room, and like we crashed their party with like 6 of us showing up. They were all very nice. They are well-off liberals, so they're not going to be hostile,
They're always
openly
nice.
hostile.
Yeah, I was going to say the Biden canvasser guy was like, I like Bernie too. And honestly, I have never met anyone who like said that, who was like a normal like Democrat who said that they didn't like Bernie.
Yeah, I've only
Yes.
met like a couple people, but they were still very polite to me, even if they said
Yeah.
they really dislike Bernie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're sitting there. It was good practice for being around these people who I, in private, make fun of relentlessly.
Whoa.
Yeah. But I put on a
That
happy
sounds
face.
like a weird experience.
It was
Just weird.
weird, yeah. And there was a guy there who I think works for the Warren campaign, or at the very least was a precinct captain for them. And he was wearing a Stronger Together t-shirt.
How sad.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, imagine wearing that. Oh, my God.
Yeah, and this being the night after the, debate where that stuff was happening. just the nerve of you to wear a Stronger Together t-shirt representing the campaign. He also said the word y'all, which I really did not take kindly to.
I feel like if you lose like a presidential election, then like all of your merch should just be just like burned.
Retired.
Not burned, but it should be like donated. Just
like the teams that don't win the title, that they print up all the shirts no matter who's gonna they don't
exactly.
know what the result is. And so you see kids in other countries wearing
Right,
like
they end up in Africa, yeah.
Yeah.
you should not be allowed to wear a Stronger Together t-shirt anymore. And it's like really for your own good, because like those are only bad. You're only bringing up bad juju by wearing that shirt.
Yes.
Like you're literally, it's cursed. Like it's literally cursed. I don't believe in curses, but it's cursed.
It's cursed. It's for sure cursed.
I'm imagining now a group of small African children all wearing Ted Cruz 2016 t-shirts.
That's gross, dude.
our Texas-sized president.
Yeah, and the lady who was the caucus secretary, I think was the title that she was going with for the caucus night. She told everyone in the room that she had been a Cory Booker supporter, which to me elicits laughter immediately, but I held it in. But all of the, libs in the room were like, "Aw." Like, oh man, I was so
they like
uncomfortable.
felt
Cory
they,
Booker
like,
does
felt
seem
bad.
not terrible on like a personal level either. Like similar to Yang, but like he's also like done a lot more like shitty stuff than Yang. Like as a member
really
of Congress, yeah, he sucks. But
it's
like,
good that you held it together,
he
dude.
is like affable. Yeah, way to go.
Like I would not have done well in this situation.
yeah,
Like at all.
But yeah, poor Cory Booker.
It was a weird experience.
He aspired for so much more. He wanted to just bring the country together, but they rejected him. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it was a weird experience, just like holding all of my inner thoughts inside and just kind of waiting until it's over with a smile on my face. Yeah, after that I went to the bar with some of the Bernie people and we just kind of decompressed a little bit. It was good practice for caucus night, where I will of course be confronted with people who do not think all of the same things as me, which is difficult.
I hate that. It's terrible.
Leave me in my echo chamber,
I think
please.
it's fun at the caucus to just stare at the people across the room from you and just think about what led them here. You know?
How did you become like this?
Yeah.
What else? I went canvassing today. There's not a lot of stories to tell there, but it was, I think, probably my most successful canvassing shift of this season so far.
That's
Nice.
wonderful. We went to a phone bank and we got all set up for the Caucus Leaders 401 training. What did you say you got? How many cards?
I got 4 Commit to Caucus cards, and I usually
That's awesome.
get 0 to 1 when I canvass. But we are getting closer to the date, so people are more willing to commit now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Nice.
How was your
That's
phone
awesome.
banking, Natalie?
It was good. I don't know.
How many people did you talk to?
I don't think that it's like the best thing to be doing right now. But the weather was just like so bad.
Yeah, it sucked.
But it was like really great. There were really cool volunteers there. There were people who were still canvassing from that site.
Yeah.
So like there was a group of 7 kids from Chicago, like minors who had teachers with them, and they drove from Chicago in a beat up limo.
A beat up
and
limo?
It was amazing. We pulled up at the house and we were like, what the fuck is that? And it's a long black limo and the side door is crushed in.
Whoa.
Damn.
And it was like a teacher with 7 students. And I guess they were insanely slow and they only got like a little bit done, even though they had 7 people and they stopped in the middle to go get food.
Oh my God.
So I think they were just wanting to go on a busted limo trip together, but it was still cool.
You know what happened today was there was a Bernie Sanders event that was a 5-on-5 soccer tournament and caucus training event at the same time, held at the
That's so cool.
East High School like gymnasium, which is really cool. And I believe they've been doing I've been getting a lot of things for like bilingual caucusing. Yep. They asked me to bilingual caucus, but I don't speak Spanish.
I was going to ask why they asked you to do that.
I think they just send it to everyone.
Wait.
This guy's name is Evan Jones. Let's
I mean, I don't know. I get all kinds of emails.
I saw, no shit, 2 Andrew Yang yard signs canvassing today.
Nice, dude.
Huh.
The infection is spreading.
I mean, Andrew Yang is again a symptom of like the people's discontent with what, political parties are offering.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's spiritually similar to us.
I remember I talked to a lady who I think was torn between Bernie and Yang, but leaning towards us just for the, clear majority that we represent, as opposed to the
practicality of it.
Yeah, the smaller thing that he represents.
Yeah. Man, it's such a slam dunk to nominate Bernie. It really is. Like I'm saying, with like most of the Democrats are sympathetic to Bernie at the very least. There's like very few people who hate him, and like honestly, there was like polling about the amount of percentage of supporters who would defect to Trump in the general, and Bernie was at like 4%. I think it was an Emerson poll, and it was like Bernie at 4%, and like Warren and Biden were both like far above that,
At
like
least
twice
like
as
10.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bernie supporters are not going to vote for Trump. They're not going to vote at all. Like that's
yeah.
the
Or
risk
hell
that
no.
you're That's the risk you're running.
Yep.
And like Bernie is by far and away, people are actually enthusiastic about him compared to every other candidate who you can draw up pros and cons and,
Right, yeah.
If I wasn't a Bernie person, then yeah, like I don't know who the fuck do you vote for? Like every choice is so flawed, And the only argument against Bernie is like, oh, he's not electable according to like centrist media outlets who
he's too old. What about his heart?
Project what they think onto what everyone else should believe. It's easy to say that from your position. Those people have been wrong so many times that it's ridiculous anyone even listens to them anymore.
Yep.
They did the same thing to Trump for so long. They denied what was clear that he was going to win the Republican nomination like for months before he actually did, like
yeah, there's that old
insane.
video of Keith Ellison on whatever news program where he says this is like summer 2015. He was like, Trump could definitely win, and everyone on this news program was laughing at him.
Literally laughed in his face,
like open laughter, not even like small chuckles, like
yep.
Yeah. So in addition to the 4 commit to caucus cards that I got signed, I left a 5th one with a guy I had a pretty decent conversation with. He was torn between Yang and Bernie. And so I talked to him about how I had just seen Yang speak, and like I'm very, sympathetic to the stuff that he's speaking on. And we talked enough, and I feel like just being nice to people is so persuasive.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I and not being pushy.
Oh, you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar,
Yeah, exactly. When someone tells me that they are torn between Bernie and another candidate, when it's not like a clear ranking that they're giving me, or they're not like, Bernie sucks and I hate him the most, when it's more like I could persuade them, I try to be like as unobtrusive as possible. I'm like not pushy at all, because I feel like just having a representative of the campaign listen to what you're saying and just talk to you for a minute like a real person is actually way more effective than like trying to bring out all these talking points.
Do it a hard sell. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
What do I have to do to get you to vote for this brand new Bernie this afternoon? Work with me here. I'm willing to work with you.
Only 250,000 miles.
Yeah, rusty but trusty.
You can pay nothing today. All right.
But yeah,
Interest-free
this is
financing for
one
the
of
first
those
4 years.
old models that were built to last back
That's
before
right.
this new era of planned obsolescence.
So I asked him what specifically appealed to him about Yang, and he made a joke about the cool $1,000 a month first, which I was like, oh yeah, of course, we all want that.
Freedom dividend, baby.
Yeah. But he actually brought up how Yang talks about disability and his autistic son, and I was like, yeah, man, that was the best thing I heard at his event today. And I connected with somebody on how people, a human being's worth is not in their ability to generate profit for somebody else. People deserve rights because they're people. They deserve a decent life just for having been born.
For sure. I mean, that's really the only reason I support Bernie, is because he seems to be the only one who actually values the dignity of human life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's genuine too when you listen to him talk. There are people that say things that are similar to what Bernie says, they're just telling you how shitty your life is, but when he talks about how bad things are and why things are bad, he's fucking mad. It's not like he's like a game show host or anything. He's fucking pissed. He is mad that these things are happening to people.
Yep.
He wants to see them change. He wants to be the one to change it. And he's it's a genuine empathy that you can feel from this guy. That's I've said in the past how good of a public speaker he is, and to me that's really what sets him apart to people. Is you can when you listen to him talk, he's feeling your pain along with you.
Yeah, and most people
it feels genuine.
Know that things aren't right.
Yeah, anyone
for
can
the
tell you
average
things
person, things are not good.
No.
Right now, and it's people know it intuitively on some level.
Yeah, any dumbass can get up there and tell you what your problems are.
Yeah.
And that's definitely the common ground that I think we have with the people who are looking at Yang as a serious candidate.
Yep.
Yeah. and Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, same thing with like dignity of like, you know, people in the military, stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Not sending them over to die for no reason.
Oh, there's a very good reason. The arms companies and the oil companies. That's a good reason.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I honestly, I mean, Bernie connects it all the most effectively, of course, but
Yes.
there's a common
absolutely.
thread. There's a common thread that people recognize that the reason so many people are suffering is because there are powerful people who benefit from that suffering. People understand that. Like, even if they don't know how to talk about it, if you like appeal to that, people get it instantly because that's all of our experience.
A vested interest in allowing the suffering to continue. Like, it's pretty simple to explain.
We're all a witness to this, but like our media landscape has been putting up this facade where you are never supposed to be angry in public. You definitely don't go on TV and speak loudly. That's definitely not right.
Yeah.
No, because that means you're owned and you're mad.
Yeah, you don't vocally confront like horrible atrocities. You know, you have to be like quiet and respectful of the people who allowed them to happen.
And Trump winning has just completely exposed the absurdity of that facade. Trump went on TV, was a loud moron, and won the highest authority in the world. Like, their thesis is clearly debunked at this point. People are pissed off, and we want to elect people who are pissed off like us, not pretending they're not mad.
Yeah.
Yep. Because what we hear from people in the media are from people who already live fairly comfortable lives. You know, like New York Times op-ed columnists. Like, these people have nothing in common with the average person.
No.
And yet...
Who's the New York Times going to endorse? They're endorsing someone tomorrow.
They might do... It'll be like Warren or Buttigieg, I bet.
It's got to be.
Yeah. It'll be one of those two.
I'm going to say... bet money on. I'm going to say Warren.
Probably.
I'm going to say Warren.
I don't know. Buttigieg could be, for sure. Or maybe it'll be Biden. It could be Biden, too. I don't know. It'll be anyone but Bernie, basically.
It's not going to be Bernie.
No. Really.
Michael Bennett.
Is Bennett still running? Fuck.
Yeah. For sure.
Oh
I mean, he hasn't dropped out.
Right. Well, how are you guys feeling? You want to wrap this thing up?
Natalie's gonna fall asleep.
Yeah.
I can tell you've been super quiet. You're not even laughing at our jokes, our poor jokes.
Because I simply dozed off a teeny bit.
That's okay.
To give you all a peek behind the curtain, listeners, we are planning to record another late night episode on Caucus night after the results have kind of come in. So this is sort of a trial run. So it's going to be something like this.
Oh, man.
But even later and after a monumental event that we've been building up to for months.
I know I'll be ready.
So, if you like the show, you can listen to more of the stuff that we make. We do some bonus content over on Patreon. We plugged it earlier, but it's patreon.com/rockhardcaucus. And we have officially, endorsed the idea of pirating our premium content. So,
yeah.
But give us money if
I don't
if
know
you think
anyone
we're cool.
who would know how to do that.
If you're one of the people who are actually interested in this show, then
if you have
just
expendable
hit us up
income,
on Twitter.
You want to help us out, financially, because none of us are rich by any means. It would be great.
Speak
for
for
us
yourself.
If the show blew up.
I'm rich. I'm rich in spirit, not in wealth.
And I can tell you, my Dobrian reading is underway. I have begun reading Willie Wilden. I'm only one chapter in, and I have already taken a couple pages of notes.
So I'm thinking for those episodes, are you just going to have like a different guest each time to like talk about with, or I don't know what you're planning for that.
I don't know if we need
but
to
that sounds like a good idea to like have a rotating like second guest to talk about it with.
Yeah.
We don't all need to be on, but I don't know if we need to make like a formal rotation. But yeah, we'll figure it out as we go.
Well, yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So
that sounds fun. I mean, I'm looking forward to it because he is a magical man.
Yeah, there's already plenty to
truly
talk
one
about.
of a kind.
I think I'm 13 pages into the book, and there's already a lot to talk about.
Okay, how about this?
Man.
How many pubic hair references are we at?
Chapter 1, 0 so far. But
Oh,
All right,
fuck.
looking good for me.
I am looking out for those. So
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry, Evan, because isn't there like 500 some pages to this book?
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
I'm not worried. He's
It's like
gonna
the size of a phone book. It's
he's gonna get into some hijinks.
like Justin, are you reading Infinite Jest? No, this is Joseph Dobrian's novel.
Oh man. Is there going to be like a John Galt speech in the middle of it? There's like a fucking 50-page.
I wouldn't be surprised.
His like central thesis above the book.
This is a 50-page quote. Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, so if you've listened to a lot of our show, you've heard the writings of Joe Dobrian, and you know what you'd be getting into. And if that appeals to you, you have a similar mental illness to me, and you should check out our Patreon.
We're calling him Joe now, are we?
Is there anything else that we need to let people know about? I mean, Caucus on February 3rd, obviously. Dumbasses,
yes.
You know that already.
Yeah.
I hope so, at least.
It's the day after the Super Bowl, so.
Oh, God, that's right. I keep forgetting that.
Yeah. Make sure you're not too hungover. Stay hydrated.
If I was conspiratorially minded, which you all know I'm definitely not, I would be suspicious about this scheduling. That'll do it. Good night. That was Night Caucus, everybody. See you next time.
Good
Bye.
night, folks.
Good
Sleep
night.
tight.